Jim Ryan joins us now from ABC News. Same goes for you, Jim. Don't cross me.
I can't wait to hear the results of the test, by the way.
Yeah. All right. So yesterday, battling border bosses. You had a Biden, you had a Trump. What happened?
Well, they didn't talk to each other directly, but their messages went out to the people they were hoping to reach, certainly their own supporters, and maybe try to attract some new ones. But, yeah, Biden came here to Brownsville, Texas, on the southern tip of Texas, a border community. Donald Trump was in Eagle Pass, Texas, another border community about 325 miles away. They blamed each other for the current situation here on the border, although even objective numbers show that the number of illegal crossings is down here in the last few months. So Greg Abbott, the governor here in Texas, and Donald Trump, they're taking credit for that. Joe Biden says that it's a reflection of policies that his administration has put into place.
So Biden said something in regards to Trump, I need your help. I need you to not get in the way of this bill. Is that a fair summation?
Yeah, exactly. And President Trump, former President Trump, is happy to take credit for bashing or for bringing down that bipartisan immigration bill that failed in the Senate. It was his convincing of Republicans in the Senate not to vote for it that doomed it. Biden was frustrated by that, and so he says that Trump is responsible for that. He's hoping to get some new sort of package before Congress here in the next few months.
So, Jim, I'm curious. They were 300 miles apart. Why did Biden go to the? Or do you know why Biden went to the portion? Was it Brownsville? I think. Why did he go to that portion, which is really not as busy as, say, where the Rio Grande is or where the real, issues are?
For precisely that reason. If President Biden is trying to say that, maybe the situation is not as bad as people say it is, right, then you'll come to a place where illegal crossings are not such an issue, a bigger city like Brownsville. If you want to go to a place where you do still see people coming across the border, where you've got razor wire in place in Texas National Guard, you go to Eagle Pass. And in that way, you try to show that things are worse than people think they are. So it's just a different backdrop depending upon the message you want to send.
I wonder if either of them grasp the fact that, we are watching this. We are American citizens. We're all residents. We want something to be done. This grandstanding of, hey, I'm here. Oh, I'm here too. Mm-hmm. Hey, you join me. You join me. Just do something. Right. Just fix this.
Right.
Yeah. Well, in real terms, nothing at all happened as a result of these visits yesterday. Some people thought that Biden might use the trip to announce an executive action related to new policy. He's considering a move apparently to bar migrants from seeking asylum in between ports of entry. As it is, even if you come through illegally between the ports of entry, the Border Patrol picks you up, and then you can make your asylum request that way, legally. Biden is looking at a plan potentially to make that not legal, that you would have to come through at the ports of entry. Governor Greg Abbott says that's what he's been pushing for a long time.
When he's not sending people here with nothing. Thank you.
And that's a great,
thank you, Governor.
Great point. I think that, and the Gallup polling that we talked about yesterday showing 28% of Americans say that immigration is the top issue, above crime and above inflation, above everything else. And it seems to me, at least, it's a reflection of this, that Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, by loading up buses with migrants who are going willingly, by the way, they sign a form and say, yeah, I'll go to Chicago, I'll go to New York, or wherever, on a bus. He's kind of exported the issue to a place like Chicago or New York or Seattle, places that really didn't worry so much about immigration issues before. He's kind of dropped it on their front step. Is that kind of how you would see it in Chicago?
Well, yeah, but, there's two folds to this, right? One is Texas should not have to bear the burden of this on their own. Mm-hmm. But secondarily, you're playing with human lives, and it's an absolute lie for anybody to say everybody knows what they're getting into. These are people that don't speak the language, who have been lied to since they left their homes in Central America or Mexico even. And the lies continue. And, weed out the thugs and deal with the 99% of them that don't know what they're getting into, or are getting dropped off in Chicago and then, sleeping on police station floors previously. And as this mayor tries to get out of his own way to figure it out. It's a hot mess, Jim.
Well, it really is. You're right. Somebody brought up something yesterday, and maybe they were just half kidding when they said on one of these hits. will either of them, will Biden or Trump, talk to any migrants while they're there? And it seemed kind of laughable. And I thought, why not?
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
To bring in some of these folks, and primarily families. I mean, Trump says that it's criminals and rapists and murderers and drug dealers and all of that. But the number, if you look at pictures, it's families, it's kids, it's there are some middle-aged guys there, some young people coming through as well. But it's primarily families. So would it be so preposterous for either of them to sit down with some of those folks and say, "What do you think? Why are you here? What do you want?"
Since Congress is at an impasse, Mike Johnson has made it clear that he's not going to let any legislation that, would hurt Trump advance currently. I'm wondering why Biden won't sign some version of an executive order. To your point, Jim, what you said, a lot of people thought that he was going to use this visit to sign something or do something at this point. I'm just curious why that wouldn't be happening at this point.
Well, I suspect that it will before November. If voters still care about it in the next month or two, then certainly they'll have to come up with something. If President Biden hopes to win re-election, they're looking at ways potentially to make it harder for asylum seekers to pass their initial screening. So, they're certainly toughening up on immigration policy.
It's Jim Ryan in Texas, and he's living it, and he's bringing it to us, and we appreciate the information. Jim, have a good weekend.
Same to you guys.
Thanks, Jim.
Jim Ryan, ABC News. It's unbelievably frustrating, because it's what you said. Just do something.
Absolutely. I mean,
Congress.
Yesterday was a photo op. I mean, literally for both, more so for Biden, because he is in a position to do. You see Mike Johnson's not going to advance this. This is stalled, and something has to be done. I think Jim's right. I think he's going to have to sign something or put some action forward before November.
Well, and why go if you're not going to make that announcement, as Ryan pointed out as well.
Right.
One of the things that the president could do is severely restrict asylum seekers and narrow who can claim asylum. We can get back to the ideal of America and the idea of America and how we are all sons and daughters of immigrants. But we have to stop the sieve that the borders become. And again, I keep coming back in regards to Biden criticism. And the same thing goes for J.B. Pritzker when it comes to everything that goes on in Illinois related to guns coming in from Indiana and Mississippi and various places. Why don't these leaders call out other leaders? Mm-hmm. And not just leaders in the other party? Why doesn't the President of the United States stand up and say, I need more from Mexico right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when they're coming over, depending on what countries they're coming from, they're getting the piece of paper, that says you are allowed to be here legally. I'm assuming they get some sort of a court date or here, you can come into the country, but you're going to have to show up at court at some point. Which court? Texas? Chicago? I mean, if they're being bussed, how are they going to know what court to even go to?
And wherever they're dropped off, the idea that they would make it back to Texas or back to wherever, come on.
Right. That's the last time you're going to see them.